Right. There's another question here to ask you: why the archons hate us human beings so much?
Because we have what they don't have, and that's what they want. They don't have our life force energy, for one. They don't have our direct uplink to higher consciousness. They're kind of in a backwater, and they have to feed on our energy like parasites, because they don't have that natural energy from within themselves, and that's the aberration here.
Okay, well, I might word that slightly differently. The idea being that possibly that archons don't have a soul.
Bingo, right.
That's just another way of
right.
phrasing what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it is significant if that's the case.
Right.
Now, I don't know that for a fact, so I would sort of leave that in the sort of gray area. But it is interesting. I certainly know that Greys and reptilians feed off of us and our energetics.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whether or not archons do, and what the exact relationship of what the beings we refer to as archons is, I'm not sure. And it may have a reptilian component or something of that nature. In other words, they may also themselves be a kind of a hybrid race. And that's kind of an interesting twist on things, because it's important to understand that we are all hybrids. So we are, we become, I mean, I can say that humanity is a threat just in and of itself, because we are a hybrid race of at least 12 different races of EGs.
Right,
and that makes us
Kerry, if you want to see the Anunnaki, go look in the mirror. We are the Anunnaki. We're carrying. We are walking around with the Anunnaki DNA in our physiology. So,
although not everyone to a large, to such a large degree. In other words, there are different degrees of the genome. Everyone, all the different races get different groups of it. You can actually see the various races if you start becoming adept at reading faces and so on. You can begin to sort of see the bloodlines going through different people and so on and so forth, and also see where their kind of proclivities lie or lay or whatever you want to say. So you are an artist and you have gone down that road, and I don't know if your paintings sell well or how you handle that, but what made you go down the road to start becoming an artist in the first place of this material?
Of this material?
Yeah.
Well, that it was when I first met Wendell Stevens back in 1980, and he was investigating the Billy Meyer contact in Switzerland, and I was so knocked out over that the Swiss Pleiadian contact case that I wanted to use my artistic skills to kind of lend to the investigation. So that's what kind of got me into it. But then one thing led to another, and then a few years later, I came across this Nazi UFO stuff, and I saw some schematics of proposed Nazi flying saucer designs, and I thought, gee, I'd like to see how that would look like as if it was a real ship, a real craft, that's out on a tarmac somewhere in Germany or Poland, and see how that would really look. So I did another painting of a German Nazi saucer, and that has probably become one of my most iconic illustrations. It's everywhere. It's been used everywhere. I never dreamed that it would become so popular, but it just shows you, how fascinating and this whole mystery really is, and how appealing that mystery is to people.
Well, absolutely. You knew Wendell Stevens, you say.
Yes.
So I know that his library, unfortunately, was bought up completely by Open Minds, John Rao, and I'm not sure that some of that information will ever see the light of day as a result, let me say that. And that's not because necessarily John Rao doesn't want it to become common knowledge, although that may be a part of it. I'm just saying that there is going to be some control over that material. Did you feel that Wendell had any big secrets?
I knew Wendell just right up to his death, And the only secret that Wendell really seemed to reveal, it happened to be about the Nazi saucers. And it's like he said when he was assigned to right after World War II, he was assigned to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and he was going through reams and reams of captured German documentation and so forth. And at that time, he was utterly convinced that anything, that was captured at Roswell or so forth was extraterrestrial. But he said over the course of his many years of investigation, toward the end of his life, he said, I don't think so anymore. He says, I strongly suspect that what was going on in Roswell and so forth was probably German, that we had captured German saucers that we were experimenting with. And so I saw this evolution in Wendell, and going from everything's extraterrestrial to it's like, well, yes, some of it's extraterrestrial, but there's a huge German component to all of this, and it's like, yeah, he kind of shared that towards the end, that there's more to this story than we realize.
Absolutely. Well, that's very interesting that he kind of came full circle, I guess. But I still say that there has to be some information in his material as a researcher, having gone down the rabbit hole for so many years, that hasn't made it out to the public. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And did he let you know?
There's some of the stuff that it's. He has published it, but it's in very obscure publications that the mainstream would just never fall into. But yeah, there are other things that he shared about the Nazi issue that it's very sensitive.
Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you have this information yourself?
I can tell you where to find it.
On May 10, 1971, the noted British astrophysicist and astronomer Sir Fred Hoyle called a news conference and made the following startling announcement. Human beings are simply pawns in a great game being played by alien minds which control mankind's every move. These alien minds come from another universe, one with 5 dimensions. These super-intelligent entities are so different from us that to apprehend them or to describe them in human terms is impossible. They have been here for countless eons, and they have probably controlled the evolution of Homo sapiens. All of what man has built and become was accomplished because of the tinkering of these intelligent forces.